Hello, my name is Sally Ottavino-Elcordi and I am with ImportantBills.com. What we do is we put up legislation that I, myself and my daughter, consider to be extremely important to support. And I'm here today with State Assemblyman William Scarborough, or Bill Scarborough. And he has introduced legislation called the Safe Harbor Act. This legislation deals with anti-trafficking of children from abroad.
More concerning child prostitution, trafficking of domestic children.
Yes.
Because what we found, and this was, but I happen to be chairperson of the Assembly's Committee on Children and Families.
I see.
And
you are the chairperson
of the Assembly's Committee on Children and Families.
Right.
And so what happened is some of the people in the child advocacy field brought this situation to my attention, which was something that I was not aware of, and it is the whole proliferation of trafficking in children for purposes of prostitution, child prostitutes. And I guess, like most people, I had seen these young girls on, certain seedy corners and so on, with the high heels and makeup and so on, and you tend to think, tut tut, why don't they get themselves together, get up the corner and go on with their lives. What I found from speaking with their advocates and listening to the children themselves is a far different situation. You have children as young as 9, 10, 11 years old, oftentimes coming from a broken home or maybe have been abused. Many of them runaways, and they fall into the clutches of these predators. And I mean, many times it's the classic situation. They run away, they go down to maybe the 42nd Street bus terminal or other places, and they fall in the hands of, some guy, who tells them he's going to love them and protect them and give them all the things that they ran away from home to find. And so that begins the process. They begin to think that this is somebody who cares for them, and they'll take them in. And then the next thing they'll say, well, all right, let's make some money. Why don't you just pose for some nude pictures, or we can make some money if you will come down to this club and dance, And then the next thing is, well, we have some certain VIP rooms. You just have to be nice to these, special people. And they start them down this slippery slope, and the next thing you know, they put them out in the streets as prostitutes. Once they are in that life, their existence is sometimes too horrible to imagine. We have had hearings where the youngsters have come and spoken to us and told us of the beatings, the abuse, both psychological and verbal. And you would think, okay, all they have to do is walk away. Oftentimes they have no home to go to. They're running away from an abused home. These pimps, these predators, are so skilled in being able to make them understand that they have no place to go. There's a couple of stories that really just kind of turned my stomach in the hearings. One young girl, 15 years old, had been trafficked in 10 states from here to Colorado,
yes, between
the ages of 12 and 14, taken to 10 different states. And she told us of a particular situation. She was in a stable, this guy's got his harem, and the girls have to come in at night and give him a certain amount of money and so on and so forth. This particular freezing January night, one of the girls went out. She was supposed to bring in $500. She brought in $100. He grabs her by her hair, beats her, drags her, throws her into a freezing cold shower, fully clothed,
and sends her out again.
Made her stay in the shower for an hour, freezing cold shower, and then threw out. Told her, don't come back until you've raised $1,000 tonight. I mean, these are the kinds of things, and I mean, that's just one of the stories. But this is the kind of abuse that these children go through. This is the kind of dehumanization that they have to exist under.
Well, I'll tell you really why I'm here. Because you have done such a good job of explaining the dilemma, such a thorough job. But your legislation is so important that what we have to do is get an 800 number, and publicize it everywhere, so that these children, when they do get out, when one of the 15 in the stable does get out, can call a toll-free line, have someone man it 24 hours a day, and have a van full of mothers, armed if necessary, show up the way the fire department does, and let these children know that they are more important than real estate. I want that more than I want anything.
This is a women's issue, you know.
Right.
And I mean, I've taken it on because it's been brought to my attention and I've seen the horror of it. But the reality is, it is an issue that involves the oppression of women, the oppression of young girls. And you know, the sad thing about this, besides the fact of the lives that these children live, is that under New York state law, any child under the age of 17, whether they have consensual sex or not, the person that is engaged in sex with them, if they are of the age of maturity, they're considered to be guilty of statutory rape, because the law says that a child under the age of 17 is not legally capable of making a decision to engage in sex. The only children in this state that are carved out of that are the ones engaged in commercial sex. The only ones.
The ones worst exploited by it.
And the sad thing is, and you hit it right on the head, because once they are in that life, they have less free will when it comes to making a decision than a 14, 15, or 16-year-old in your house of mine. What we're saying is we want to change the law so that these children are no longer charged with a crime. And are considered to be what they are, victims of human trafficking. And we want to get them the services that they need, such as an opportunity for schooling, counseling. If they are involved in prosecution of their pimp, they often need short-term housing, because what is often forgotten is this is not only her pimp, he's often her landlord. He owns the house, he owns the apartment. If she is going into a prosecution against him, she's homeless. So you have to provide them with short-term housing. Oftentimes, they can't go back to their family because that was the situation they ran away from in the first place. So they need long-term housing until they reach the age of 18. So this is all part of the bill. So what we put in the bill was that if this child is engaged in what would be considered an act of prostitution, there are no other felonies involved, you know, not drugs or weapon or anything else, simply the act of prostitution, that child shall be given the opportunity by the judge to go into this program. You know, the charges will not be placed. The child shall be given the opportunity to go into the program and get these services that we just discussed. But if they do not cooperate with the court, they do not follow the court mandates, do not, you know, assist in prosecution, do not complete the terms of this program, then the charges can be reinstated. And they, you know, so this again gave the law enforcement that hope that they need. You know, I mean, we're going to give this child an opportunity to get their lives together, but they have to cooperate. Since
I started important bills, these are just, you know, peace, freedom of speech, anti-trafficking. These are things that I really care about. They're profoundly, this is profoundly disturbing to me.
And I
especially
mean,
as a mother.
It impacts you. You don't really get the impact until you see the children, you know, and you hear their stories and you understand what an impact this is having on their lives and what an impact we can have if we can make these changes. We have been trying for 3 years to follow the mandate of the highest court in this state, which says it is not fair to treat these children this way. And I mean, this just adds urgency to what we're trying to do. Saying to us, legislature, rewrite the law, make it fair. And so this is what we've been trying to do.
Well, I think you've made it fair, and you've given them no out by putting shall. And that's the only way to go.
Because otherwise they won't do it. We've seen that. They won't do it.
So let's stop talking and let's stop messing around and let's stop turning a blind eye. And, Yeah. Wonderful. What a pleasure to meet you.
Well, it's nice meeting you.
Thank you. William Scarborough, State Assemblyman for what district?
The 29th Assembly District.
29th Assembly District here in Jamaica, Queens.
Thank you.